So first off, happy Father's Day everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Now let's get right to it. Game 4 was an emotional affair all the way around. Pacers fans got really close to tasting the champagne, and they seemed absolutely livid at some of the calls. OKC fans have been taking a ton of abuse with accusations of flopping, being too physical, and worst of all, playing unethical hoops. Mix all that together and we got a very tough game to slog through, and I sympathize with the refs who already have one of the toughest jobs in the world, and with the stakes this high and the players playing as hard as they are, missed calls are bound to happen. This one was especially upsetting for Pacers fans as it came at a crucial moment in the fourth with them down 1. Now from this angle it's a bang-bang play as the ball gets loose and Dort pounces on it in the backcourt. Zooming in, we see that Halliburton goes to receive the handoff with one hand, and Turner tosses it a little too far in front, missing it altogether. If we look at the reverse angle, we can start to see why Hallie was only going for it with his right hand. Dort has got his right hand wrapped around Hallie's forearm, and there seems to be enough pressure to cause Hallie's torso to rotate and throw off his reception so that the ball misses his hand and glances off the forearm into a turnover. Why didn't the refs get this foul? Scott Foster is the trail official, but he is stacked and can't see what's happening on this side of Dort's body. I think he should have been higher up so that he could have had a better angle. And the slot official can't see what's happening because he is also stacked to the plate. It's possible they detected some sort of push from Dort here, but knew it was after the ball was loose, and that's also a legitimate reason to let the push part of this play go, but not the initial impeding and effect Dort had on Hallie's balance. Unfortunately, this happens outside the last 2 minutes by a few seconds, so we don't get a review, but I bet they graded this an incorrect no call. But you have to understand that the refs are allowing quite a bit of contact to players either with the ball or cutting to receive it. In a similar play to what we just saw, Nembhard is also holding SGA's left arm back behind him on his drive, and the refs don't call it as he lets go and SGA keeps control. Or on this handoff, where Nembhard makes contact with the waist and then holds SGA's left arm a little bit coming around. I can also acknowledge that the refs could have held off because it didn't materially affect the play, unlike this one where Hallie loses the ball, making the whistle necessary. Another interesting sequence got Pacers fans furious, and it all started with what appeared to be a terrible turnover from Luke Dort, who probably shouldn't be bringing the ball up anyway. When you look closer, he didn't just lose the dribble, it bounced off of Halliburton's shoe. You can see Dort going to the ref and saying, "Kicked ball, kicked ball." But remember, the rule is clear that the kick has to be intentional, and that's what the ref is explaining to him. Now we see Halliburton dismissive of something, maybe Dort's argument about the kick, and then they line up behind Mathurin to get ready for the rebound. There's the first push from Halliburton. Now Dort gives him a little shot to the chest, hardly any wind-up at all, and Hallie goes down for the count. This is clearly an embellishment by Halliburton, and even the ref glares at him as if to say, "Really, dude?" And it's not like we hadn't seen Hallie do this a few minutes before. As they're coming back down court, there's a little contact as Dort swings his arms while running, and just check the overreaction. So we'll have to accept a couple of things: that the refs are allowing plenty of physical contact to ball handlers, and that there are going to be a number of messy plays in each game that are going to be very hard to adjudicate. So you might wonder why it's okay to make plenty of contact on the shoulder of a ball handler like we see in these clips, with even some pushing and balance affecting by the defender, but then they go and call this on Nesmith in a crucial moment of the fourth quarter. Well, the difference here is that the contact goes from a stationary player holding the ball to a shooting player receiving contact across his arm. The answer isn't to scream at the refs that it's unfair, it's to not make straight arm contact to SGA's shoulder and hold it there. Which brings me to the reason for this video: discuss the keys for each team going forward. For the Pacers to win this series, they're going to have to stop SGA in the clutch. So far in the finals, Shea is shooting 71.4% during crunch time. And if you want a chance to make money on his performance, then you've got to download Kalshi, the first and only legal prediction market in the United States. You can bet or trade on anything, from the Grammys to the Oscars, and you can now do this with sports in all 50 states. With the way SGA is playing down the stretch, picking him as the finals MVP is a no-brainer if they can pull the series out. That said, I've got Indiana winning Game 5 on the road in a big upset, which makes these games even more fun to watch. Click my special link in the description below and get in on the action for the rest of the finals. the first 500 traders that trade 100 contracts will get a free $10 credit. There are so many markets you can pick, it's fun, it's legal, and I get that they love Nembhard and what he's doing to harass him full court and wear him down. But when it's for all the marbles, you need a bigger, stronger, and longer defender. So they need to get Siakam on him. It's hardly happened in this series, but it's clear from the evidence why it's a key adjustment. His sheer length dissuades the three-point shot even after SGA had cleared some space with the pullback dribble. Unlike Nesmith, who's at least 3 inches shorter and can't affect this absolute dagger in Game 4. On this same possession, they try it again with an isolation out top, and just look what Siakam can do with the shot clock winding down and containing him without fouling and forcing a heavily contested long 2 into a miss. In Game 2, we've got one other possession, and notice how they're allowing a lot of handsiness around the handoff, and now we've got a one-on-one in space. Siakam can be aggressive with his hands again, keep him in front, and then his height and wingspan affect SGA's shot a lot more than Nesmith or Nembhard can. Here are a couple of examples of how they could do this. Knowing the Thunder want to spam the Williams-SGA pick and roll to force a switch of a foul-prone Nesmith onto SGA, they could simply switch Nembhard and Siakam here. And if they try and bring Caruso up the screen, the clock starts working against them and Siakam could then switch one more time. We saw the Caruso screen in Game 1, but instead of a simple switch like they should have done, Siakam comes up to hedge and allows SGA to split the defenders right to the basket for a layup. For OKC, I think they need to run more actual offense. Their passes per game stat in the finals is way too low. They'd rank last in the regular season by a huge margin, and it's a reason why they've dropped 6 points off of their regular season offensive rating. Often, they just avoid running any type of 5-man offense in favor of tough shots with very little movement, and it's playing right into the Pacers' hands. And get SGA in the post a little more. I bet they draw double teams each time and would open up this 3-pass sequence for the open corner 3. And the other thing they need to be a lot better at is their out-of-bounds plays. I believe that inbounding on the baseline is a big advantage, almost like getting a low post touch, and that you should be running these to get a shot within 1 or 2 passes. They certainly can't blow opportunities when they get a good back screen for a cutter, but the pass is thrown off target, negating the layup. No clear screens were set on this initial action before the ball is inbounded. Chet wants to set a corner ball screen, but Wiggins doesn't want it, and now they're left with a drive out of a stagnant set without good spacing and a missed long 2. With 1 second on the shot clock, you'd think they'd run something towards the rim with the long Chet Holmgren getting a back screen. They also completely miss Lu Dort's cut for a wide open layup, and they're left with an almost impossible shot. Here's a back screen for a cutter that's wasted movement considering there's a defender standing right in front of the play. With this angle of a cut to the wing, Nembhard can go under the screen. And while they do get SGA into the middle, the spacing isn't great and Dort has to shoot a contested tweener and they come up empty. This sideline out of bounds play was also a problem in a key moment. It's a very rudimentary stack alignment that is run at the very youngest of levels, and the screening action is so far from the ball that it's hard to get it to the one target they had without the defense recovering in time, forcing Caruso to throw it to avoid a 5-second call and almost letting the Pacers back in the game. But they can always turn to their MVP down the stretch, and it's what Indiana was missing when they had the ball. This clutch step-back jumper got a lot of Pacers fans upset, but let me at least help tamp down the erroneous perceptions of his play so that their outrage could at least be motivated properly. This was not a travel in the slightest. In the NBA and FIBA, they have the gather step rule, which means the foot on the floor when the dribble ends is the 0 step, and the player has 2 more legal steps they can take. The dribble can only end when either both hands control it, one hand underneath with control, or the ball pauses. It's clear the ball is still floating and spinning until the moment he controls it with both hands here, with his left foot down. From this point, he takes step 1 with the right foot, step 2 with the left, and then jumps. Legal. Now, does he push off? This is a hot topic, and I just don't think there's enough contact to warrant an offensive foul here. It looks to me like the arm glances off the body of Nesmith, and the reason they're both losing their balance so much is because of this foot-to-foot contact that would only be a defensive foul, if anything. Plus, we can't ignore that Nesmith grabs the jersey in the beginning of the play, so I think we should give credit to SGA for hitting an incredibly tough basket under the pressure of serious crunch time. So there you have it, sports fans. Watch for some defensive adjustments down the stretch from the Pacers, and for the Thunder to get the ball moving more and squeeze out more points from their out-of-bounds plays. It's tough to pick against the home team in a playoff series, but why not? I got it right in Game 1, and if the Pacers can win it, they'll be holding the trophy by next week.